Hey folks, Keith here at Chicken Thigh Fishing. Welcome back to Getting It Done. If you need to remove the seats from your Protein 175 Tracker TXW Bass Boat, I'm going to show you how to do it. Stick around. Hey folks, welcome back. Well, I'm starting to get my boat ready for the spring. There's still a bunch of snow on the ground, and I'm starting my projects around the house, in the car, in the boat. And so one of my projects is to do a deep clean on my boat. And so in order to do that, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the seats from the boat. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there's a whole bunch of junk underneath those seats that accumulates over a fishing season. Pieces of soft plastic lures, aquatic vegetation, dirt, grime, mud, you name it, gets behind those seats. I don't like to have that there. So as part of my deep clean of my boat, getting ready for the season, we're going to take the seats out. So I'm going to show you how to do that if you happen to have this type of boat. So there are any number of reasons why you may have to remove the seats out of your tracker boat. You could have a ripped seat. You may need to replace a part of a seat or whatnot. You might want to get those seats up so you could wire some type of electronics behind them or underneath them. I took these seats out in the fall because I wanted to really clean my boat. Well, I'm glad that I did, because there was a ton of junk under there. You wouldn't have believed how dirty it was under those seats. And the back panels of the seats, which are marine plywood, were just soaked to the bone. And even though it's marine plywood, I didn't like that, so I took them out and I laid them in the sun. Anyway, I didn't take a video of it at the time, so I'm going to do a video for you now, show you how to remove those seats in case that's something you want to do. So the first thing I'm going to remove is the removable cushion on the middle seat here. And that is simple. It's just held on by these 4 clips, 2 on each side. And actually 6, there's 2 on the top as well. So that cushion comes right off so you can give it a good cleaning. So the first thing we're going to do to remove the main seats here is remove the screws on the front of the seats. Now you'll see that there is this small overhang on the seat, and this here is some accent lighting I put in. But this is the overhang on the front of the seat, and there are 2 screws in there on both the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So we're going to go ahead and remove those screws. Now just a note, it's pretty difficult to find these screws for the first time when you're looking for them, because the head of them is buried in the carpet. So you got to look in order to find them. So now that we have the screws removed from this front little overhang piece, we're going to have to remove screws along this back panel here. But before we do that, I am going to remove the seat itself, because that's just going to make everything easier to reach. And the way you do that is just reach in here and grab the middle cushion out from your seat, and you'll see that that is held in there by Velcro. And you can see how wet and a bunch of the crap that is in there. And you'll see here that there are 5 screws holding that in. 1, which is missing, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one was so corroded that it was broken. And then these, you can see how they're corroded, and I added these 2. So what I'm going to do is replace them all with new screws, because like I said, one of them was corroded so badly that it broke. But before I remove those screws and take the back off, there is a little flange here. I believe it's aluminum, but it's covered with the boat carpet, and that is secured by a screw into the panel here, into the pedestal that the seats sit on, and then underneath it's attached to this. So I'm going to remove the bottom seat first. Now that I have that screw removed and the 2 screws in the front here, I can take the bottom cushion out. Now you can see how gross the seat is and could use a good cleaning, and I just like to deep clean. Here you can see how wet it is underneath there, and a little bit of mold here that I'm going to get off. And here's that tab I was talking about. So this is also attached to the seat. So I'm going to remove that so I can clean that as well. And that's what that tab looks like. So here's the bottom seat cushion, and we'll put that aside. There's a whole bunch of leaves and dirt, and the first time I did this, it was 10 times worse than this. It was just gross under here. So I'm glad I'm doing it again. So now I'm going to remove these screws in order to remove the seat back. So there's a good illustration of how corroded the original screws are. And now this is a boat that's less than 2 years old. So now I can remove the rear portion of the seat, and we're going to really clean that up nice. And so you can see this panel here that goes all the way down behind both seats. And so in order to remove that panel, to remove this cushion, the bumper cushion in the middle, we're going to have to remove the driver's seat in the same way that we removed the passenger seat. So I'll go ahead and do that now. All right, I got those 2 screws out underneath. So now I'm going to get that middle cushion out. And again, you can see how nasty that is under there. So again, we're pretty wet and gross underneath there. A lot of wetness there, a lot of gunk, and like I said, that's after me having done this in the fall. I did some more fishing after I did it, but still, it's pretty dirty. You should have seen it before. All right, so we'll remove those screws from the seat back. And so here are the 5 screws from the driver's side, which you can see are in terrible shape. So we're going to definitely replace those. And you can see how dirty the seat gets in here. And again, this has already been cleaned. So, man. Now you can see this back panel here, and this panel goes all the way, and this bumper cushion is attached to the back with screws. In the event that you wanted to replace just that bumper cushion in the middle, you would have to remove the seats like this, because you can't take this panel off here without having the seats out, obviously. And so now this panel is secured with screws. You can see there's a screw in there. There's a screw right in there next to the bumper, and it's the same on the other side. So we'll go ahead and remove those screws and take that panel off. now you can see how that panel simply lifts out. And you can see where the bumper cushion is attached on the back with 4 screws here. And we can take a little look at the junk under there. So that's the process of removing your seats from your Tracker Pro Team 175 TXW. I'm going to go ahead and clean real good. I'm going to leave them off for a while, and when the weather gets better, sit all those things out in the sun and let that wood really get dried out. And I'm also going to take advantage of the opportunity to do my spring deep cleaning and get all this junk out of here and wash the carpet just like I washed the rest of the boat, so it's clean. So there you have it. If you have any need to remove the seats from your Tracker Pro Team 175 TXW, that's the process that you need to use to remove those seats. And of course, the reassembly of the seats is simply the reverse order as the disassembly. So, you know, you may have a need to remove those seats, whether you have a torn cushion or you want to do some wiring, or I mean, there's 100 reasons, or if you just have OCD like me and you really want things really clean. I was really taken aback by how dirty and nasty it was underneath and behind those seats. So to me, it's well worth the work to remove all those screws and take that out. And speaking of those screws, I gotta believe it's not the safest thing in the world to have corroded and broken screws holding your seats in the boat. So I'm gonna replace all of those screws, and I'm probably gonna add a few more and make sure they're stainless steel. So I hope this video was a help to you. If you have any interest in removing your seats, we'll see you next time. And until then, stay fishing, my friends.